Hi the people, how you doing? So, today we probably have our final video comparison for the OnePlus 9 Pro, until of course we get another new device to compare it to, but for now, this is against the Note 20 Ultra. And yes, I know the Note is technically from last year, but we won't be getting a new Note this year, which is why I'm doing this comparison, because I want to give the Note 20 Ultra sort of a standing like compared to the early 2021 flagships. The OnePlus 9 Pro is one of them, so let's get started. So for selfie videos, well, this is kind of a trend here. Basically, the OnePlus 9 Pro is terrible at it, and usually in all of its video comparisons so far, it has performed quite bad against phones like the Note 20 Ultra, which has quite good selfie video as a whole. And then in the rear cameras, it'll make comebacks in a manner of speaking. So yeah, that's kind of the trend that I've noticed. Yeah, quite interesting, and it also really indicates that OnePlus badly needs to work on just how good the selfie video situation is, because it's not good. And I'm honestly hoping that in the next generation, preferably in the hopefully upcoming OnePlus 9T series, we'll get better selfie videos. Like, that's probably the only place where it is really lacking. And even though I'm not much of a selfie video user, I'm really hoping that they improve on it. So for a selfie video, well, overall, yeah, the Note 20 Ultra is better. It is 4K 30, it has better dynamic range. I kinda like the colors on the Note 20 Ultra a little bit more. I do think it feels a little desaturated at times, but the OnePlus 9 Pro is really going a little too overboard with like contrast and saturation. Yeah, it's not gonna suit my taste anyways. So as for microphone quality, well, I do think that on the OnePlus 9 Pro, if you use it in landscape mode, then you can get better mic quality. I don't know the exact reason as to why it happens, but I can tell you this much. Compared to the previous camera comparisons, this time with landscape mode, it sounds quite a bit better. I still prefer the Note with regards to the noise reduction and stuff like that. Next up, we have 4K 30 with the rear cameras, and yeah, this is where the OnePlus 9 Pro really stacks up, and I would say for the most part it's very similar across the board. Both are giving fantastic video right here. The only difference is in colors and contrast. The OnePlus likes to go for higher contrast and more vibrance, and I know that's gonna suit some people's tastes, might not be the case for others, so I'm gonna leave that to your preference. But otherwise, it's very similar, like stabilization and stuff like that. It's fundamentally the same on both. And then we have the ultra-wide cameras. Now this is where things get a lot more interesting, because now the OnePlus 9 Pro, although it has similar differences in colors and contrast compared to the Note, it is quite a bit better in terms of producing details. Like, the OnePlus 9 Pro's sensor is very high quality. It's probably one of the highest quality sensors on the ultra-wide cameras that you can get right now, and it can give some tremendous looking video. Like, the detail levels alone are enough for me to give the OnePlus 9 Pro's ultra-wide a clear win here. And then we have 4K 60. Well, this is also a region where the OnePlus 9 Pro is amazing, and it's not because like the main camera is doing anything special. The Note 20 Ultra is also producing some really nice 4K 60 right here. Stabilization is very similar, and we have the similar kind of color and contrast differences that we saw in 4K 30. But overall, I think the details are slightly sharper on the OnePlus 9 Pro. It's mild, like really mild. But it is the ultra-wide cameras once again where the OnePlus 9 Pro takes a massive lead. We have 4K 60 here, and the Note doesn't even allow for 4K 60 on the ultra-wide. I'm not sure why, but that's just how it is. So yeah, the OnePlus 9 Pro with an amazing ultra-wide sensor and very high quality 4K 60 footage that you can see right here. I'm pretty much gonna go so far as to say that the OnePlus 9 Pro is better at 4K 60. I mean, it would have been much closer if the Note 20 Ultra had 4K 60 support on the ultra-wide. Again, I have no idea why the Note doesn't allow it. I mean, the S21 can do it, the OnePlus 8 Pro from last year could do it, so yeah, I'm not entirely sure why. Up next, we have 8K video, and I'm gonna go so far as to say that the OnePlus 9 Pro kind of, at this point, specializes in 8K video. The reason is quite simple. It gives amazing 8K footage from the main cameras, as you can see, great colors, dynamic range, the detail levels are tremendous. We do have a dedicated details test for 8K coming up soon, so definitely stay tuned. And well, basically, it's slightly better than the Note because it has a much wider field of view, it doesn't crop in as much. But the reason I feel that the OnePlus 9 Pro is actually better than the Note 20 Ultra, and quite frankly, many of the other cameras which can do 8K out there, is because it has ultra-wide 8K. And this is the only phone that I've used with ultra-wide 8K, and it is glorious. It gives the stabilization of the ultra-wide cameras, and you couple that with the amazing details of 8K, it's really something else. Like, man, I'm a huge fan of the 8K ultra-wide on the OnePlus 9 Pro. And then we are super steady on both of these. Now the OnePlus 9 Pro can do both 1080p and 4K, you're looking at the 4K footage. And quite simply, the Note 20 Ultra does have a few less jitters, maybe. Like, it's mostly made for quite literally running with your phone. Like, you want to run and get stable footage, the Note 20 Ultra is gonna be the one for you. But otherwise, I do think the OnePlus 9 Pro provides a much more balanced experience with super steady. Like, quite simply, it doesn't dunk on quality completely to give you insanely good stabilization. Stabilization will be really good, but the quality is where I think the OnePlus really takes the lead, and in my opinion, it has the better and more balanced, once again, super steady mode. So now we have a signature backlit test, and essentially it is backlit by a studio light, so the conditions are fairly harsh. Now what surprises me here more than anything else is just how flat the OnePlus 9 Pro looks. Like, it's very similar to, in terms of like the contrast levels, to the Note 20 Ultra, and you know, earlier on in the previous test it wasn't really like that, so I'm kind of surprised. But nonetheless, overall I think both are doing a pretty damn good job here. Basically, the OnePlus 9 Pro seems to have slightly better details, but it is also focusing quite slow compared to the Note 20 Ultra. Like, in numerous cases it is either entirely losing focus or it's taking its own sweet time. On the ultra-wide, however, well, both of them do kind of lack dynamic range compared to the main cameras at least. But overall I do prefer the OnePlus 9 Pro because now the focusing speed is quite a bit better compared to the Note 20 Ultra. And I have also noticed that the Note 20 Ultra cannot really focus on close-up subjects like in this case, so the OnePlus 9 Pro is gonna be better in terms of focusing here. It's the details, however, that really allow the OnePlus 9 Pro to take quite a nice little lead right here. And then we have low light. Well, once again, the OnePlus 9 Pro looks quite flat compared to the previous video comparison that I've done. Kind of surprising, and even like compared to the daylight shots that I took previously, you can see the contrast is very well balanced in my opinion. In this case at least, it looks amazing. And it's also got better details compared to the Note 20 Ultra. So overall, I'm actually liking the OnePlus 9 Pro quite a bit here. Now the Note does have its pros, it does focus quite a bit faster. Like in numerous cases you can see the OnePlus 9 Pro is basically losing focus on Valentine entirely. And it is also handling some of the highlights in the background better compared to the OnePlus 9 Pro. So yeah, essentially the Note is not all that bad either. On the ultra-wide cameras, however, yeah, this is a place where the OnePlus 9 Pro is flat out better. It just has a larger, very high quality sensor, as I've mentioned numerous times already. And well, essentially, it's just gonna give you better details and less noise compared to the Note 20 Ultra. I think it's about time that Samsung gave us a nice high quality sensor on their new flagships, because clearly it is working out really well on the OnePlus 9 Pro. Now the Note can do certain things that the OnePlus cannot. For example, HDR10+ video recording. And man, you know, this one here, it looks kind of flat, you know, the contrast is not really there, but man, I gotta say, the Note 20 Ultra still looks really good here. Do keep in mind, you are looking at the SDR transcoded version, because HDR10+ cannot exactly be exported like that. But if you were to look at this footage in HDR10+, I'd suffice to say that many people would have their minds blown. It looks that good on the Note 20 Ultra. And now let's move on to the fun part, because this is the 4K 30 details test. Now you'll also notice that the note is kind of underexposing. I'm not sure why it's happening exactly, because I did take this multiple times, used tap to expose, nothing, it was just the same the entire time. But anyways, zooming in, this is I believe a 3.5 times crop, and yeah, essentially there is no difference here. Maybe the note is a bit sharper, but it's mostly over sharpening that I can see. There's a little bit of haloing going on around the edges and stuff like that, so yeah, there's minimal differences to say the least on the Note 20 Ultra and the OnePlus 9 Pro here. Now for 8K video, well, this is where things might get interesting. This is with your main cameras, and zooming right in, this is about a 4 times or maybe a 5 times zoom, I'm not entirely sure, but nonetheless it's a huge crop. And essentially I think the OnePlus 9 Pro is taking the win here. It has so much more texture detail, like you can see in the lower part of the image, the petals right there, they have a lot more textures. Like it's a drastic difference compared to the Note. I mean, the Note is good for standalone 8K video, that's still pretty nice, but the OnePlus 9 Pro is definitely doing a better job here. Now the interesting thing is, this is the first time we have ever had 8K video on any OnePlus device, and like it's really doing a great job, given that there has never been 8K video here before. But then the moment we move on to night mode time-lapse, the OnePlus 9 Pro falls apart because it doesn't have the feature. The Note, on the other hand, does have it, and it looks so much better. Name it, the colors, the noise levels, the details, everything is better on the Note 20 Ultra. I mean, it's supposed to be. The OnePlus 9 Pro would be much more comparable at daytime, but that's about it. The Note 20 Ultra does take a win here. Now for slow motion, this is 1080p 240, and basically I think Now for slow motion, this is 1080p 240, and well, before I say anything, I just want to put this out there. The OnePlus 9 Pro, at this very moment, I think it's my favorite and also probably the best slow motion video camera out there. Not just because it has incredible 1080p 240, as you can see right here. So much more detail, like on the table and stuff like that. It's brighter, it has slightly less noise in certain instances. So overall, against the Note 20 Ultra, the 1080p 240 is much better, no doubt. But we also have 4K 120, and I think this is essentially where the OnePlus 9 Pro really comes into its own. This is the only smartphone that I have which can do 4K 120, and I don't know exactly how many other smartphones out there can do this, but damn, it looks incredible. So clean, crisp, like the details are really something to reckon with. This is probably my second favorite feature, right after, I would say, 8K ultra wide on the OnePlus 9 Pro. So that is it for the camera comparison, and well, yeah, the OnePlus 9 Pro has mostly better video quality compared to the Note 20 Ultra. That is sort of expected. We are, after all, comparing last year's flagship to one of the best flagships this year. It's obviously gonna be really good on the OnePlus 9 Pro, but you may have noticed the Note 20 Ultra did manage to take a few wins right there. I mean, they weren't the biggest or major wins as such, but there were quite a few wins, and in numerous cases, like let's say in details, in 4K 30 is very similar. In terms of dynamic range, in good daylight conditions, very similar once again. Stabilization was great. So a lot of the fundamentals are already so good on the Note 20 Ultra that, well, it's basically gonna be a tie compared to the OnePlus. The OnePlus obviously has certain areas like ultra-wide cameras and, incredible 8K, amazing 4K 120 slow motion. That's all there. Obviously, it will provide quite a bit more. But the Note 20 Ultra, in my opinion, it's not worth abandoning yet. Like, if you really want a Note, I think the Note 20 Ultra isn't gonna exactly disappoint you. It won't blow your mind, like, I know it won't, but it won't disappoint either. So, yeah, the OnePlus 9 Pro, nonetheless, is still just goddamn incredible. Once again, the only place it needs to improve is in the selfie video. Anyways, that's it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, do hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will be seeing you guys later. Cheers.